Hey everyone, it's Lisa Adams. And hey, I wanted to kind of do a quick video on the poll that I put out there as far as some research regarding rejection. Now, with the rejection poll I had put out, I had asked everybody, like, how do you define rejection? Do you consider it your fault? Do you consider it a mindset? Is it the other person's problem? Or any other comments or suggestions about it? And the comments and the feedback I got from so many people, it was really fascinating. And I want to thank all of you for doing it. We had several votes. A lot of it actually was interesting. The majority of the feedback is on mindset, that rejection is a mindset. And I think some of that is true, that, that when we feel rejected, many times it's the mindset that we have and how we respond to it, or if we take something too personally. And for those that felt that it was their fault, that they were the cause of the rejection, I would just maybe caution you, really discern whether or not that's true or not. Ask some good questions. Why would this person possibly reject me? And rejection has multiple levels, right? Is it just a job search where the organization chose not to interview you? Is that a rejection? You could define it as that, or it can really be, I just didn't have the skills and it wasn't a match, and that's okay. If I gain those skills, maybe I could be considered a candidate again. So that's where it could be your fault, or you could learn to develop that. On the other hand, it can go to really deep rejection of highly personal, like true, like I hate you kind of rejection. I am not speaking to you kind of thing. And that's deep and personal. And if it comes from your family or someone close to you, that is just a huge wound. And I think that kind of rejection many times is not anything that we can control. So I would say that it would not necessarily be your fault in that situation. Many times it's a rejection of who you are as a person and even what you believe. And you can't necessarily change that, nor do you want to, because then you'll just blow with the wind. And that's not being a viable, solidly rooted human or even Christ follower. And then there's the other part, sometimes with that deep rejection, that I would say on the poll, where I would mark that it is that other person's problem. They have a problem with me, whatever that reason is. And that may or may not be okay. That may be a really deep hurt that I would be receiving from that rejection, or it may not be. I've had situations where somebody has rejected me, and that was okay. Like I realized over time and asking some questions, I realized it was really on that person. It was not anything that I could have changed. Even though I had tried to change some things, I had tried to rectify the situation, it just wasn't happening. And so I realized it was really the other person. And it was really from where they were coming from. So I loved all of your comments. So many of you had made some fantastic comments. Rosalind had mentioned about how you react to that rejection. It really is our response to it. How do we respond to this rejection? Is it, and also really, I think how deep and how wounding is that rejection? So sometimes it is truly a mindset. Oh, that person rejected me, or that organization rejected me. Watch your mindset, because that could cause you to be into a negative victim mentality, and you don't want to go there. Okay. And I think we had some other ones that were, Barbara had mentioned about it being about communication. Many times when she sees things about or rejection, it tends to just be miscommunication. Good point on that one as well. Mary mentioned rejection is an interpretation of a result, such as an interview process. Brian had mentioned it can be a learning opportunity. And even prove that rejector wrong. Sometimes that works, I think sometimes it doesn't. So it can be very situational. So I just loved all of your comments, Tom and Nikoda and Darren, and so many of you added so many great insights into Miranda, so many great insights into this whole topic of rejection. And I find it very fascinating. And so that's why I wanted to toss it out to all of you, and just be considering that some of it is situational and some of it is our fault and some of it's not our fault. And sometimes it's a mindset. I think in my personal experience, many times it has been more of an issue with the other person, that there's something that I couldn't have changed, even though I've tried to. I tried to change and it just didn't work. And I realized it really was the perspective of that other person. And there was nothing else that I could do. I can't control them. And I couldn't control that situation, or I couldn't control their rejection of me. All right. So thank you again so much. I've got a blog coming out with some more research on this, and I'm just so fascinated with what all of you have said about this, and keep the conversation going. And if you have any questions, would love to hear from each of you. Thanks so much.